Hi y'all, it's Susie at Susie's Craft Room. I would say welcome to my craft room, but today I'm working from the dining room table because I have stuff spread out everywhere. I apologize that I didn't upload a video yesterday, but I was still feeling pretty rough and I just took the day to get better. But today I am ready to go. I'm feeling much better, so we're going to try to get some things done. So I wanted to look at beginning to get our journal ready to put together. So what I've done is I brought some things. We're going to make a journal envelope. Uh, uh, we're going to use the envelope as a journal cover. And so you can use something like this. And it's okay if, like, when you opened it, you tore this up because we're going to trim this off anyway. However, if you want the length to say where this ends, then you're going to want to take this piece off, this metal piece off. And it's okay if you end up putting a hole in it because we're going to end up covering this anyway. Um, Whoever sent this to me had taped a great big huge envelope as the address label on here. So I did take the time to peel it off, but there is tape still around here. I'm not going to stress about getting that off. I don't care because I'm going to cover this. So you could use something like this, or if you have some junk mail that you've gotten in with these, kind of bigger size envelopes, you can use these. As you can see, when I opened this one, I used a letter opener to get it open. But that's okay because this flap is good. But I do want to glue, say, this edge down because I want to preserve as much of the width of this envelope as I can. So I want to glue these little pieces down so they're not flapping. Now this one I opened up and was able to maintain this. And so what I'm going to do is I will end up putting glue on this and gluing this piece to here. And that will make us a nice cover that's about this size. Now this happens to have a window in it, which I can show you how to put something in there so that you have a design and it's really cute. So this is another option for a journal cover. And again, we're going to cover all this, so don't worry about what's on the outside. Or if you have some, what we call some legal envelopes, and these aren't exactly the same size, and that's okay too. What we'll do with these is we'll open up the flaps, and this one is bigger than this one, but I'm still going to use them, and I will put glue on this and glue this flap just where the folds meet. Or I can just glue it like this and trim that piece off, or actually glue that down and then trim that so it opens. So either way, and that's probably the way I'll do it just to make it easier to glue, and then you'll have more of a traveler size note journal, and that way you're not so intimidated by making your first journal. So I think this is actually a very good option for a beginner. So those are going to be what we're going to use for our journal covers. We will be opening these other ends of our envelopes so that we can tuck things into the covers of our envelopes. I think you're going to really like that. It comes out really, really nice. I did set a timer, by the way, today, so hopefully that this won't cut me off like it has a couple of times. And I don't know how to put the videos together, so, they just ended when they did. This is something, let me start with the regular page. Alright, so remember, I told you to save your junk mail. Well, this one I have not copy dyed. I did spill some coffee on here when I was copy dyeing. I just didn't get to this page. But we will end up folding these pages in half. And these will make the pages for our journal, whichever size we decide to use. So basically this will be the size paper that you want, or even smaller, like you saw, like we were talking about for the traveler size. So we're going to say this is our first page. And then I have like a piece of line paper. I'm going to fold it and it's got graph paper on the other side. And I'm going to fold it in half. And this will be another page. And then I have one of these. And now if you're OCD and you don't like your pages like this, where they're not straight up and down, then you probably are not going to want this as a center line. It doesn't bother me. Also, you might not like, say, a edge like this, or where it's been torn out. This one hasn't, but I was able to take it apart without, tearing that out. You can actually cut that off, so that, if that bothers you, you can just take it off. So anything that bothers you, it's yours. There's no rules. So I'm going to go ahead and fold this in half, because like I said, I don't mind that. Again, you might, these holes did not line up perfectly when I folded it in half. I don't know if you can see that, where they didn't line up exactly right. If that bothers you, just fold it where they line up. If you say, if you don't cut that piece off. And that's going to be another little page in there. And then this is an old stationery page. And I'm going to fold it in half. And that'll make another page. And then I have a piece of book page. Now again, if you're one that has to have, the words going up and down, then you're not going to want to use this way. But again, I don't care, so it's going to go in this way. And then I have this old, they used to use these a lot back in the old days, where you would write in it, you would fold it up, and you'd put a little seal on it. Well, I don't use them like that, so I'm going to use this as a page. And this is going to be kind of cute. I'm going to stick this under here so you can kind of see the effect of this. And I'm of course, lining up the folds every time. So let's take a look at this. So when I open this up like this, and I get to this page, this is that card I just showed you. Part of it's on one side. I should have put it behind some bigger pages so you could get more of effect here. Okay, so you see this, and then you get this page. I'm sorry, and then you have this, and it's really, really pretty on there. Again, if the lines are going to bother you going this way, you probably don't want to use it this way, and I will, show you another way that you can use the same thing, particularly if you're using the traveler size. But then as we flip through and we get to the other side of the card, you'll get to this, and I'm going to leave this flap on here, and what it does is it opens up, and that's really going to be cute on that journaling page. So that's going to be another one. And then the book page, like I showed you here, if you don't like the words going this way and you want them up and down, I showed you yesterday, or day before yesterday, how to remove the pages by finding the strings in the middle of the signature and lifting those pages out so you come out with a double spread. Well, I did that on here, so this way the words go up and down on the page, and I'm just going to stick this in here somewhere like this, and that'll make another page. So that's probably, enough pages. Well, actually, that's more than enough pages for our first little journal. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. Again, I'm going to cover this so you won't even see what that original letter said. You can cover as much or as little of this with other things as you want to put more writing space, but we're going to put pockets and tucks and things like that so we can put journaling cards. So don't stress too much about not having clear pages to write on. Again, one of the problems with journals is people feel intimidated by a blank page. So I don't want too many blank pages like this where, people have to feel like they have to write and fill out the whole page. Sometimes you just want to document just a little something for the day or for the week or however often you use it. And so it should not bother you that these pages are like this, because we can always put little things on here for journaling purposes. So we're going to call that good for here, and then I want to put these aside. Oh, I do want to show you some other things. I'm actually working on several journals right now. And I showed you napkins before, that you can, use napkins to cover pages and such, and I kind of want to give you an idea of what that looks like. I don't really want to start with that one. Let's start with I don't know if you recall this particular napkin that I showed you, but I have actually what they call Mod Podge or decoupage this to a page, and this was the napkin opened out. You have to separate the layers and Mod Podge this down, and I'm going to show you how to do that as a prep for a page, and that turned out absolutely beautiful. It is kind of wrinkly, and when you put the glue on top, it feels really, really good. It gives it some texture and some dimension, some interest to it. So that's how that kind of turned out using just a plain napkin like that. Then, let's see. I don't know if I have another piece of this one left, but this was a napkin that I Mod Podged or decoupaged onto a page, and it is absolutely gorgeous. I just love that page. And then I told you that you can also use like tissue paper, and this is just like you would, get in a gift or what have you, that a shirt or a pair of pants or something, might have inside of it in a package. Well, I've taken a piece of this tissue paper and I've decoupaged it to a page. And I don't know if you can see that pink or not. I kind of have some bright lights in here today. But this is beautiful. And again, it's a little bit wrinkly, and you got that feel of the decoupage on top. It's just great. And then the darker pink, I used it in 2 applications. But again, it's the tissue paper. And on this page, I just decoupaged it down. And once again, you end up with that wonderful feel to that page. And that's going to go into my journal just like that. And then the blue, I decoupaged it onto a page. And it, again, the feel, the look, really, really wonderful. Okay, and then I told you I used this dark pink in 2 applications. Well, I actually glued it to a page, and then I took the other side of this napkin, because, it was folded in half, to the other side of this napkin and decoupaged it on top of that dark pink, and that's how it turned out. And I just think it is absolutely beautiful, so I love that. And this is a lighter blue. I believe this was actually a napkin. Perhaps it was tissue paper. This was tissue paper. And I decoupaged that onto a sheet of paper. So as you can see, they just turned out beautifully. And so I'm going to go over that technique with you, show you how to do it. It's really, really simple. And it's, very easy to make your own decoupage medium to use instead of buying something that's called, for decoupage medium. Another thing I mentioned the other day was getting, if you didn't have one, like a children's coloring book, activity book, or what have you. This is one that I happen to have, and it's like a word search puzzle book for children. And the cover is decorated. Maybe you want to use this cover to, say, decorate a journal with. I'm not working on a children's journal at this point, so I don't care. And I'm not going to cover this, because what we're going to do is we're going to use the pages inside to glue our extra pieces down that we have maybe left over, to, wipe our paint brushes or gesso brushes out on. And so we're going to start from the front to put our little scrap pieces of paper on to make a collage page. And then we'll start from the back, taking our paint brushes and getting the excess paint out as we go from the back to the front. So this will be used in 2 different ways. As we start prepping these pages, they're going to get thick, and we'll end up taking pages out, or hopefully you're going to be using them in your journals, and you'll be tearing them out and using them, and then you don't have to worry about it getting so thick. But I find that I enjoy the collage process so much that I just sit for hours and hours and just collage pages. So again, we have our magazine pages, and we can use whole pages if we want to. We can use a piece of a page if we want to. Now I can't get the page to turn. I'm just going to kind of find the image real quick. Maybe you like this little gecko for the Geico thing. See what's on the back of here. Okay. And you just want to kind of take that out. Now you can fussy cut. Remember I told you fussy cutting is just simply going along the edges of an image to get it cut out without any background. I don't care about that. So I just want to tear this out. And when you tear paper, if I tear it this way, I'm going to have more of the white edge showing on the piece that I want. If I tear it down, then I'm not. I might have less of a white edge. So I'm just going to kind of tear this around a little bit. Kind of get him out of there because I want to use him. He's cute. I don't know, maybe in an animal journal or maybe just as a fun page or, you know, something. Just, you know, we'll see. But you go through your magazines and either start cutting or tearing out your little images. And so, let me get that. That's kind of busy. Well, and he turned out really cute. And so I'm just going to kind of set that aside. Maybe have a little basket or, you know, just something to put your little, what we call ephemera pieces into. Now, what I will recommend, magazine page is really, really thin. And so before you take the time to fussy cut or even tear this out exactly like you want to, you want to glue this down to either a page of your copy paper, your notebook paper, your coffee tea stain papers, whatever, the double thickness, however thick you want it. Since this is going to be on a background, I wouldn't bother going with the double thickness, but certainly on a regular piece of copy paper or notebook paper or what have you, or even in our book like this. So, and that way, when you cut it or you fussy cut, if you take the time to fussy cut, you don't want to fussy cut it twice. So go ahead and when you get that out, if you know that you're going to fussy cut or you know you're going to tear it out before you even take the time to, to tear it out of this like I did, go ahead and, tear it bigger, glue that down, and then cut or tear around it like you want to, and just throw it aside. So start going through your magazines, find colors, images. Let me go back and look at this one again. You know what? I don't want this whole shoe. I just want this color out of it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear this down smaller. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can get more onto a notebook page or copy page or whatever. But really, all I'm going to end up with, once I finish, is I just want this texture look. I don't know if you can see. I've got some bowls in the way because I'm going to show y'all how to make some gesso and some clear gesso. And I don't know that I'm going to have time in this video, but I'm going to record 2 today. I missed one yesterday, and I want to make up for it. So when I'm ending up, I'm going to just keep that piece. But I want to glue that down before I take the time to, cut that the way I want to. Now, there are like these sale papers that you get. You may want some, textural pieces out of that. Again, cut it or tear it out bigger, glue it down, and then tear it or cut it the way you want to. Maybe you like these together. They all kind of match or coordinate, and maybe you want to take that and use that as kind of a background piece, which would be so cute. So, any of that would, be a really, really cute image. Here's, I don't know, let's see, this little purple piece of the tulle, or maybe even just this little white section of the tulle. I mean, there are so many different things that you can, take out that you just don't even realize. In this particular one, at the top, you see it says holiday deals. Well, maybe you want that word holiday. And again, cut it or tear it out bigger, glue it down to your page, and then later you can cut it or tear it out. You may want the word deals, and that would be maybe the heading on a page, and you might want to document on that page, just put some of the deals that you got during, that time, or even for, a month or the whole year or whatever. A lot of people are using like this buffalo check plaid ribbon, and so you may want to, cut or tear that out. There are so many things that you can find in magazines and sell papers. If you're doing like a food journal, you can use, say, grocery store ads. Ter- this lighting is terrible today. I didn't realize I was going to have such a glare. I don't know how to help it. Um, maybe you want this piece of steak. Maybe you want these potatoes or some of this cantaloupe. Depending on what you're working on. So you wouldn't believe the stacks and stacks of, sale papers and ads and things like that. I don't think I mentioned it, and if I did, I apologize for repeating myself. Maybe you don't have any magazines. I don't subscribe to magazines. Occasionally, you get one maybe in the mail that you didn't order, but, they're trying to get you to subscribe, so they send you like a sneak peek copy, so, to try to entice you into subscribing to magazines. Well, I don't. I don't have time to read magazines. But in, the United States, I don't know about other countries, but in the United States, I think all public libraries will give you magazines. They'll give you 10 a week or 10 at a time, I guess. And so you can go and ask them if you can have some of their magazines, and they'll let you pick out 10. I haven't heard of anybody say that they pick them out for you. Even if they do, there's going to be something that you can find, in some of those magazines. But now that we've been on shutdown for so long, the subscriptions that the libraries get didn't stop. Although they closed down, they still are getting their subscriptions. So they're going to have these stacks and stacks of magazines. Be the perfect time as soon as the library is open to go in and grab you some of those magazines. Maybe there's going to be some gardening magazines and you want images out of that. Maybe there's home decor magazines and you want images out of that. Just, whatever, maybe car magazines, cooking magazines, just all kind of things that you can, look for. So definitely look at your sale papers, your magazines. Go pick up some magazines. This is from a seed company, and I pretty much destroyed this one, I think. But you can go in here and get out, images of fresh fruits and vegetables. And then back in the back, I don't know about this one, they usually have flowers. I don't know if this one actually sells flower seeds or not. But anyway, if you have seed catalogs and things like that, go through them, find neat little pictures or even textures. I mean, even if we just use that, that's a beautiful, beautiful texture. So, just look at what you have. Look for the words. Don't forget about the words, because words can be very, very helpful. You can, cut out single letters, say the bigger letters. Cut those out and use those. There are so many things that you can do to, kind of decorate up your pages. So I wanted to kind of cover how we're going to do that. We are going to look at, like I said, making some gesso. We're going to look at decoupaging some napkins and tissue paper, or even just plain images. I might just go ahead and tear this out or cut it out like I want it, and then decoupage it so I can show you that it doesn't have to be napkins or tissue paper. It can be images of any kind. And I'm also going to show you, remember I told you I want to show you how to take the shine off of some pages. I'll show you what I have been using, and then I want to try a couple of things that I've never tried before, or at least two things that I know of that I want to try that I've never tried before. I did forget to mention with the coffee, if you're a coffee drinker and say you make a whole pot of coffee and you only drink half of it, pour that other half into, a jug, a old mayonnaise jar, or, just whatever. Label, of course. Put it in the refrigerator, and write on there, used coffee. And you can save that up, and then when you have enough, heat it up. And then, pour it in your pan like I showed you. Dip your pages, lay them out.